So here's my client's before. As you can see, she definitely needs a trim. Those ends are looking dry and brittle. So here's her before. And here is her after. Fresh, healthy, gorgeous, shiny hair. So today I'm going to show you guys how to refresh a reverse balayage. I'm going to be walking you through her haircut and her color. So let's get right into it. Cheers!
Let's go, let's lead, let's hit, let's go. Holy hair, let's go, let's go, let's go.
So, like I said, here is her before, and honestly, her tone still looks super gorgeous. She uses professional products at home, and let me just tell you, it makes a difference on your at-home care, what you're using. So, last time I did a reverse balayage on her with a pretty bold money piece, and so we're just going to be freshening that up today. So, I'm going to kind of show you guys how to tackle a color freshen up. So I'm actually going to be starting with her haircut today, and I'm starting with her cut first because we want to cut off all those dead ends before we put the color on, because dead ends just soak up color, like, let's be real. So a lot of times when clients have like really dry brittle ends, I like to start with the haircut just to get those ends off so that you're not wasting a bunch of color. But also why I'm doing a dry cut on her is because she has really fine hair, like I said, and I almost prefer to do a dry cut on fine hair because then you don't cut as much off. You're seeing where the hair is naturally laying, and it's just an easier cut, honestly. I just prefer fine hair, doing it dry, and that's just my preference. So anyways, I'm going in, taking off this length that is much needed to be taken off, and then I'm going to go through and just do kind of like a basic layered cut. I'm not doing a ton of layers, but as you can see, the interior of her hair, she has some split ends. It's definitely brittle and dry, so I'm just going to go in and trim off some of those dry and brittle ends. And I do like to bring the hair to the front. I kind of like to bring the hair in a few different locations because obviously your client is going to be wearing the hair to the front, wearing it to the back, wearing it to the side. You know, hair moves. So you want to move the hair into different locations and make sure that you don't have any like straggly pieces that are hanging down that need to be trimmed. So I'm just kind of point cutting up front here, and you want to make sure that your client is holding her head straight ahead and they're not looking down. Sometimes when you do this, clients tend to like look down at the scissors at what you're doing, and that just like totally messes it up. It matters where you hold your head when you're getting your hair cut. That is always what I tell my clients. Like, I feel like I have to constantly tell them that because they're always moving their head around. We all know we have those clients who are like head talkers and they just like can't hold still. So it cracks me up, but we love them to death. Like, gotta love them, but you know, they gotta hold their head still. So then I'm coming into doing her face frame here. I'm just doing like an easy piecey face frame, not too thick because like I said, she has fine hair. And then I'm going to go through and take out some of the interior, and I am just doing just 2 elevations on each section for the layers. So I'm just kind of elevating it at the bottom a little bit and then elevating it a little bit higher. And I filmed this entire haircut so you guys can see my whole haircut process. So I'll let you enjoy the rest of this haircut. before I start her color, I'm going to be applying this Kenra Porosity Equalizer Spray, and this is just going to equalize her porosity since we are going to be doing a lot of low lights. And then I'm coming into her sectioning. As you can see, I've sectioned the back into 2 sections. I have a little triangle section at her crown in the front, and then 2 triangles on the sides. And for her formula today, I'm going to be using my favorite Schwarzkopf Blonde Me with 20 volume and Olaplex. And then her low lights, I'm going to be using Shade ZQ 6N. So I'm going in with a low light on the bottom first, and I'm going to be alternating highlights and low lights, and I'm not bringing all of her lowlights down. Some of her lowlights I'm just going to bring down halfway through and just feather it into the mid shaft so that we create a shadow effect. But I'm going to be doing baby lights for all of her highlights. So in between these lowlights, the lowlights are going to be more chunkier pieces, and then the highlights are going to be fine baby lights. So when I'm doing these baby lights, I'm obviously going to be retouching her regrowth, and then I'm going to feather that down into the mids, weave out any darker pieces that go till the ends and bring them up so I can fully saturate those as well, and then I'm going to leave out her already lightened ends. So coming to the top of this section, I'm still alternating highlight and low light, but I'm going to finish with a low light on the top. And I want to finish with a low light in each of my sections so that I have almost like a veil of low lights on the top of her crown, and then the highlights are going to peek through that darkness, and it's going to look really, really pretty. So with the kind of like money pieces around her face frame, and then the dark, halo effect on the top, it's going to look really contrasty and pretty. So coming to the front section, I am going to use my foil board because if I don't, then sometimes I drop my foils. So I'm going to grab my board and I'm going to be foiling her hairline, and I like to use my board around the hairline because it just gives me a nice surface to paint on, and then I just fold the foils in half just like that and they stay pretty securely. So I'm going to do some back-to-back highlights here, leaving hair out in between, and I'm weaving. So I'm going to do about 4 highlights, and then I'll go into alternating low light highlight, and then I'm going to finish with a low light on the top. So So coming into her top section here, I'm going to be doing some highlights in the front to create a really soft and natural money piece. So I'm going to be weaving some fine sections, and I'm going to be doing a couple highlights back to back, but leaving hair in between. And then I'm going to be going into alternating some highlight lowlights as I go to the back of the section. And again, I'm going to finish this section with a low light. So I'm pulling out all of her foils, and as you can see, she's lifted to a beautiful level 10, so it's going to be a breeze to tone. And I am going to rinse everything thoroughly, and then I'm going to wring out any excess moisture in the hair, and I'm also going to towel dry her before I put her toner on, and this just helps to fully saturate with the toner. So for her toner, I am mixing Shades EQ, 10 GI, and 10 P, and that's going to balance out, give us a really, really nice buttery but cool blonde. I love the GIs. They're so pretty, and mixed with the P just gives us such a pretty tone. So I'm going to shake this up, apply this all over from root to end on her. And what I love to do when I'm doing toners and then, root shadows is I like to do it all in one step. Now, this doesn't work for every single client. Obviously, everyone's hair is different, and you have to keep in mind that since I'm using a level 10 on her whole head and I'm applying this, when I go in and apply my root shadow, it's going to knock it down a couple levels. So when you apply the root shadow, you want to make sure that you are mixing accordingly if you are applying it all in one step. So I'm going in and I am actually just using her leftover low light for this. So it's Shades EQ 6N. And so this is going to be probably about a level 8 since it's mixed with the level 10 that I just applied all over her hair. But that's totally fine because we really don't need a ton of a root shadow on her since we didn't do a ton of highlights. We're just kind of blending any harsh lines and making it look really, really soft and seamless. Leaving out the hairline for this root shadow, and I'm going to let this whole entire thing process with a cap for 20 minutes. So as you can see, we get this lovely halo effect with the low light, and that just gives us that really, really pretty drop dimension. And I am loving this tone. So gorgeous. It's like the perfect platinum with just enough warmth to give it that brightness. It just looks so gorgeous on her, so pretty with her skin tone. She has a very warm complexion, so this color is like perfect. And as you could tell, we really wanted to focus on low lighting for this appointment. I didn't do a ton of highlights and I didn't tip out her ends or anything like that, but you can always customize this color and use some of these techniques for your client. You know, if they want some brighter pops of color on their ends and their ends are able to handle it, go for it. You know, like in between doing your foils, you can always tip out those ends, back comb, and brighten those up. But for this appointment for my client here, we just wanted to focus on depth, give her that pop around her face, and give her just kind of like a really natural look, looking healthy but still bright. And look at that drop low light in the back. So, so pretty. And it just makes that hairline highlight pop so much. I just absolutely love all these ribbons of dimension. It just looks gorgeous. So tell me in the comments what you guys think of this look and if you'll try it on any of your clients in the future. Don't forget to follow my Instagram for daily content. Give this video a like, share it with a fellow hairstylist or friend. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps out my channel. And I will see you beauties in the next video.
Holy hair, let's go, let's go, let's hit, let's go. Holy hair.